Grace, and I want to talk about some really kind of frightening things that have happened to me lately. Just some, the more latest. But I'm going to tell the most current part right now. I never liked movies like that, but I'm going to do this before I forget. I just had gotten a phone call from the district manager from where all this stuff had happened, and I was watching a video at the time, but I wasn't going to answer it anyway. I never answer phone calls from phone numbers I don't know. This one was from Fort Worth. I'm north of Dallas. And plus, I was watching a video at the time on my cell phone, and I had already determined that if somebody calls me, this district manager was supposed to call me, I'm going to let it go to voicemail because I want everything on voicemail. More proof. Okay. Now, right after that happened, I had been waiting for it to stop raining so I can go and make video update about what's going on. And my head started to pound again because of the stress of all this. And I decided I'm going to go vent it out, video vent it. So I opened up the front door to see how the weather was, and it was still raining. And when I opened up the front door, right at the end of my driveway, on the other side of the street, there was a car just sitting there looking at my house. Somebody in the car. And I just stared for a minute, and then they took off. Okay, this is a neighborhood where that wouldn't be appropriate for anybody. First of all, nobody should be parked there anyway. The neighbor that's closest to me, they're all gone. They're not there. Their driveway's open for anybody to park there. Nobody should be parked in front of my house. No, nobody. And they weren't really parked because they just took off real fast. So that scared me because of the craziness to this whole story. Last night I made public a video I didn't remember I had made. I thought I had, but I wasn't certain, and I'd already uploaded it from last week. And I don't think on that video, I listened to it, but I don't think I mentioned the whole 3 days of dealing with a pharmacy and about 2 of their locations and my doctor's office, my new doctor's, which I'm changing again after all this, and I changed pharmacies after all this. But anyway, I was dealing with him 3 days 1 week. There's one really nice professional pharmacist, and there's one that's not, and then there's 2 that's not, and 2 that are, and the tech. Anyway, I dealt with the one that was nice at this location last week, and I was very upset about things, very upset how they messed things up. They had called me when it says do not call, not their location, but the other one, and I'd already transferred to that one. And a month or 2 ago, I don't know how long ago it was. But anyway, the one that had called me, the woman told me, I said, why are you calling me? And she said, we're calling you for this. And this. I said, no, doesn't it say on there, do not call? And she said, yeah, well, but we can still call you about. I said, no, you can't. I said, do not call me. And the reason I said, do not call me, is they harass me. Okay? It's very simple. And I've told them this many times. I will call you when I need to have my prescription renewed. I will tell you that I need my prescription renewed. I come and I pick it up, and it's all done. But no. What really happens is days to weeks to years. It's years now. And I live in a place I call Narcissismville. It's all corporate things like stores, grocery stores, pharmacies, everything is corporate, okay? It's not like you're going to find a mom and pop shop. I'm starting to find them. I knew one meat market. I think there might be a pharmacy. Okay, and I'm thinking I'm going to thoroughly vet it, as the current term is. Everybody uses vet. And not deal anymore with corporations. No, as much as I can. As much as I can avoid it, I want to try to. But it's extremely, and I know other people have experienced this, like if you call your cell phone company, your electric company, your cable company, probably somebody's had one of these big places that they've had to deal with, and it's like what happened to me yesterday. I better skip to what happened to me yesterday. After 3 days last week of going through this, and they were going to do it all right, and they weren't going to keep bothering me, and they weren't going to mess up, They weren't going. They were going to do it right. Finally, what did they do? 2 days ago. Today's the 7th of December. Okay, so 2 days ago, the 5th, I called them and they said they had renewed already. I said I need to check on to see if one of the medications is one of them that was recalled. That's valsartan. And the pharmacist, as she told me yesterday, she was the one that actually answered that call, and she said we wouldn't order anything that was being recalled. Okay, whatever. I don't know how that works, but whatever, you know. And so she was actually nice on the phone that day, okay, 2 days ago. And so I said, well, and she said, well, we've already refilled that. And I'm thinking, why do they do that? My account actually has a pop-up that says, do not auto refill. The customer will call to have do not auto refill. The customer will call to have them refilled. And it says only fill them for 30 days because they've screwed up, as have other pharmacies, because they don't look. Yeah, they don't. They're too busy. They'll find excuses why. Okay, and of course it's going to be my fault. Yeah, that they don't do their job. So much detail to this. I should get to what it was. I'm in the drive-thru yesterday. I went to pick it up, and I had told that pharmacist the day before, to just go ahead and renew took 3 of my other prescriptions. Okay, so I'd pick it up the next day. I go to pick it up the next day, and the young man, he was nice, that was at the window, the drive-thru, said, we only have one. I said, why not? I called yesterday, and they were supposed to have them all done today. So he says, we only have one. The other ones are scheduled for 1:30 today. I'm thinking, oh boy, here we go. So he does my prescription, tells me it's $50. I said, why is it $50? What was it last time? And he said, it's the same. And I wasn't thinking then that the last time was filled at the other one, which they filled it for 90 days also. They screwed up 3 of my medications. They filled them for 90 days, and 2 they filled for 30 days. They couldn't explain why. But they said the same thing. He says, well, it's cheaper. This is deflection. It's cheaper if you renew for 90 days. I said, that's deflection. Why was it filled for 90 days? So I'd already, I paid for it. I got it. I just wanted to get out of there before anything else happened, because I know these stores. Just want to get it and go. Well, I got it, and I got around the corner, and I popped the top of it, the little, whatever they're called, to see what it was, and make sure it was the right medication, because they've done that to me before too, giving me the wrong one, and the wrong manufacturer, I should say. And sure enough, they've given me the wrong manufacturer. So 90-day supply, wrong manufacturer. I was just around the corner, just around the other one. Of course, they're side by side. So I went back and told them, and they had what I'm going to call the narcissist flying monkey. That's what it made me think of immediately. Short version of all this was I was videoing it from before the first thing. I was videoing it like I'm doing now. My camera, my cell phone camera on my windshield. Yeah, videoing it, all of it. Okay, so I have it on video, and I uploaded it to YouTube, but on the channel I don't use, but it's there. Plus it says my real name and my date of birth, so I'm not going to make it public. Maybe. I might go that far. But anyway, so I go back, and the one I call the narcissist flying monkey comes to the window, and she looks like a, really mean woman, and a little younger than me, probably 10 years, maybe. And she was screaming at me how it was all my fault. Okay, every way you can imagine, she blamed it on me, that they once again screwed up on my medications. Once again, it was my fault. She just went off, and actually I was in the other drive-thru, the one that's not right next to the window, and they were having a problem at one point with some other customer, so kind of telling. Yeah, so she's screaming at me, and the intercom isn't working right, but she's screaming mad, and I'm trying to talk, and she keeps talking over me. Well, long story short, so does I'm talking to the corporate office, and I'm telling them they are screaming at me. I'm in the drive-thru, they're screaming at me and telling me that I'm at fault, that they screwed up. And And why the corporate office couldn't just, I actually said I want to speak to a manager. I spoke to a manager after I told somebody else, and I verified that they have it on recording. I want it recorded in their office too. And why didn't they just call the pharmacy and say, look, stop screaming at this customer. The customer says she's in your drive-thru and is claiming that you're screaming at her. They were screaming at me. Okay, to me, of course, what came right to my mind is what I already said. To me, who can't accept when they're wrong? When there's no way I got behind the counter and filled my prescription wrong. There's no way that I verified that it says it on the pop-up that I somehow magically took it off so they didn't see it. No, sorry, it doesn't work that way. What the pharmacist, one of the things, I couldn't hear, I rolled my window up at one point and she got really ticked. You know, narcissistic type people. She was screaming at me was that it is my responsibility to ensure that they only fill them for 30 days. And I must tell them, I always do, just for the record, I always do. I must tell them to fill for just 30 days. And I said, what's that pop-up about? What does it pop-up say? It's your duty. She went off on me. It was my responsibility. She just kept doing that. It was horrible. And I'm going to tell you, I'm laughing right now, but it was so horrible. That Valsartan is for blood pressure. Okay? High blood pressure. I have high blood pressure. She's screaming at me. And at one point in all this, I was telling her, stop screaming. I can't handle this anymore. I've been here for 2 hours. And she was basically, the way I see it, is holding my prescription. And I'm not going to say the other word because I think that it'll flag me if I say the other word, but you know what I mean. Hold for. Yeah. That I couldn't get my medication. Okay, because I'd given it back saying I want a refund. Well, they had my medication in there. Okay. Now, if they don't put it back on their computer system, then I can't go somewhere else and get it, and I would have to go to my doctor. I don't have health insurance. I live in Texas, and I'm a homemaker. And then I would have to pay another $300 to see the doctor whenever, and that was the doctor that screwed up in the first place. Okay, so let me tell you, this is crazy, totally crazy. That after all 2 hours of this and me on the phone, in between on the phone and videoing it, because the phone I'm using is my cell phone, the phone I'm videoing is my cell phone. When I'm on the on the phone with the corporate office 3 times, well, 3 different people, yeah, I think, and I think it was 3 people. Anyway, you know, it was just unbelievable amount of just unbelievable stuff. But as a person who does videos about narcissism, I know what she was doing. But the problem was she had my medication for blood pressure, like I just said. So what am I going to do? And I was even sitting there going, what am I going to do? And asking the person on the phone from the corporate office, what am I going to do? You know, what can I do in this situation? And both of them, sometimes it was both of them, they were screaming at me, and I was saying, I'm on the phone with your corporate office. Well, that's fine. I'm videoing this. That's fine. They were so cocky and so arrogant, you know, just like a narcissist. So sure of themselves that they're right, even though they're wrong. The customer is not the one that fills the prescriptions. No way can this customer, there's pop-ups, no way can this customer be the wrong one. How I'm feeling after all this. And at one point, like I said, I was actually just covering my head, I rolled up the window, put my hand up like, this has actually happened to me in a different one, by the way, this part of it. And I said, I don't want to talk to you. Just do what you need to do. I need to go to the other store. And she's still screaming inside the pharmacy where there are customers that are actually inside the pharmacy. She's screaming at me that it's my fault and they must have my phone number. No, they're not. I said, you're not getting my phone number. Yeah, we must have it. Screaming at me. And like I said, I'm laughing now, but this is nervous laughter, and I'm laughing or I go crazy with this stuff. Screaming at me, and I'm saying, look, my hands are shaking. I'm diabetic. I have hypertension. Now, this is a pharmacist. She should know this. And I can't handle this. Just stop screaming at me. Just stop screaming and do what you need to do to get me so I can go to the other store and get my medication. She's still screaming, and she's got that look on her face. You know, the narcissistic smirk? She has it on her face, and like she is getting that sadistic thrill from making me hurt, My head hurt and my hands shake. And at that time, I was actually next to the window, so she could see me. She actually could see me, not in the second drive-through, but the one at the window. And there's a young man, the only nice person I saw there. He was standing there. His eyes were like as wide as you can get from seeing all this stuff going on. And he's looking at me like he understands I'm not wrong. Because he had even said it. He said, I don't know why they did that. Why did they have 3 scheduled for you to pick up later today at 30 days, and then they filled this one for 90 days. And also the 90 days thing, they've refilled. My doctor had apparently called it in last week, and they auto refilled it, which like I said, my account says do not auto refill. And she had at one point tried to tell me that the reason it's my fault that they did that was because I should have told them to only, like I said, that I should have told them to only fill those for 30 days. Well, they auto refilled it. I didn't even know they had it. How was I going to do that? And it's not my responsibility. There is a pop-up. And anyway, the young man, he was nice, like I said. I said, is there any way you can make that pop-up much huger? He said, I think I can. And that's when the first sort of it started off is that around that time, right after that, I think, is when the flying monkey started screaming at me. And then it just kept going on and on and on, like I said. Longer than I thought. And the whole story is way too much more than anybody should have had to go through. And I kept saying that. Nobody should have to go through this. Nobody should have to go through this to get a medication. Nobody. So, I mean, I'm serious. But like I said, I was talking to for a good part of it, to their corporate office. And the corporate office, of course, says, well, we can't hear them. I said, you can't hear them yelling at me? Both the manager and the other person in front before her said, no, he also said that he couldn't hear them. Well, my cell phone picked it up really nice. My cell phone's further from where I was talking to them on the phone. Okay. Yeah, I was seeing how it was adding up. And they said, anyway, the corporate office says that they have to go through the district manager. I said, well, the reason I called you is because I wanted the corporate office to take care of it. And, well, this is our protocol, and we must do our protocol. And we take these things very seriously. So, because I said, what is the district manager going to do? The district manager is the one who hires them. They work under him. He is the one who trains them. So do you think he's going to say he's wrong? That he must not have, the term vetted them right? And that he trained them right? And then this is how they're behaving, is screaming at a customer? They think this is appropriate, this is professional? Well, we have to follow this protocol. And they also, the manager there, she also tried the whole deflection thing. So, you know where they get it from, There's not going to be a resolution. As it's looking, I said, so what evidence do I have that you are going to take this seriously? Because she had said, we're going to take this seriously. I said, what would make me think that you would after all of this? And we take these very seriously. Well, and he will too, so then I knew it was a man. Well, I got like I said, voicemail from him today saying that he had gotten an email from the corporate office and he wants me to call him and talk to him. Now, today's Friday. I'm not going to call him until Monday because I think he needs time to go and investigate it himself. And I'm going to try to see if he takes that time to go and find out himself, ask questions. Why am I getting an email from corporate office saying this and this and that happened? Because I have a feeling what he did instead was to call me because they said that he would call me within 24 hours. And they said, well, since today is Thursday, it probably won't be until Monday. That was yesterday. Till Monday. And so he made sure he got that call in. I want him, I know I'm making a bunch of assumptions, but I can see this kind of thing, It doesn't take a genius to figure something like this out, even though my IQ is exactly, I have a genius IQ. So, yeah, I can figure out things. I'm not some dumb country hick just because I have an accent that they're going to treat like a piece of crap. And I'm not one who's going to just say, yeah, that makes sense, because I'm extremely logical. It doesn't make sense. It does not make any sense at all to say a customer is wrong at all. Anyway, when they messed up, when the staff messed up, you don't blame the customer. But I get it. I get why they do that. And I get why they would be trained to do that. But it's not happening on my ship. You know, like I said, I'm videoing it. And whenever I do call that manager back, and they want to do it on phone because it's my word against his, but it's going to be my word against, what am I doing? I've videoed for 4 years now, over 4 years. So I'm going to be videoing it with the cell phone, videoing it with the phone number, the phone in my hand, showing what number I'm talking to, and that it says that it is that's the number, that's the person I'm talking to. That's his personal cell phone. At least that's what I think, that he said it's his phone number. So I'm not going to play their game, you know? As a person who does videos about narcissism, I'm well aware none of this is going to make any difference at all. They are going to be right, period. They're going to be right. This is what I see at all points in my life. Anytime you're dealing with any kind of big business or corporation, when one of their staff members screws up, it is collective narcissism to the max. Collective narcissism, oh yes. If anything came from this, that it was, they verified, you know, like you go through a pharmacy and you go through the drive-thru, you look up there, they have a camera. They have that. Okay, they have their own video. They can look at their own video and see, okay, this pharmacist and this pharmacy tech is yelling at a customer and telling the customer in many, many ways how the customer is wrong, that the staff screwed up, the pharmacist screwed up. But they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. They don't want any resolution because they're going to continue the practice for people who are not that smart. I'm not trying to be bragging about myself, but I'm aware there are some people that would just say, okay, because they really don't get it. They're not going to get it. And some people are just going to say, I'm not getting involved in that. I'm just going to let them just scream and yell. Yeah, some people would do that. I even would suggest these people can be dangerous. What did I say from the beginning of this video? I said that I'm worried because there was a car parked at the end of mine right after I got that call from the district manager. Yeah, so I worry too. Anyway, but everything that was happening during all this is textbook. Seriously, textbook. They were wrong again. And some part of me, I don't like to be, you know, too paranoid with what somebody would say, well, you're just paranoid. No, I'm not. But I wouldn't want to think that they did it that way on purpose again, because I spent 3 days last week. I think it was Thursday, Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I think, last week. That they did it on purpose again so that they can do this. They can get the sadistic thrill out of it. I don't want to think that way. But at the very beginning of this yesterday, I started saying, that's why they did that. They did that. You know, that's that little gut instinct, a little survival, you know, instinct thing that kicks in right away, and that's what I thought. They did this on purpose. They did it on purpose. You know, you don't want to think that. You really don't want to think that there are people out there that are that crazy, but everything else was so textbook. You know, they were wrong. They blamed the other person. They scream at the other person. When the other person, I even said more than once, will you please stop screaming at me and listen for a moment? Let me get a word in edgewise. No, they were going to scream over me. Both of them. The flying monkey, you know, which is to me just a narcissist wannabe, you know, or is a narcissist, but wants to one day be as high as the other one. Some of them, yeah. Anyway, just screaming at me, and I'm saying, you know, let me say something. No, that because they don't want anybody else to hear me say you're wrong. They don't want anybody to hear that, you know, because then somebody might have a little bit of doubt and say, well, yeah, they are kind of wrong here. No, so they're going to scream and try to make me look like I'm bad, do the crazy making thing, which I have to say, somebody holding my medicine and I can't get my blood pressure medication, and I've been trying to get it since last week. That, yeah, I had plenty, by the way, I did, but I wanted to get it done, over with, so I can get out of this once again and try to find one that's not run by a corporation, you know, a pharmacy. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sure I was just thinking something, but this is a really long video. I'll probably have to divide it in two. I don't know. I'm going to start making more videos. I'm really going to start making videos about more of a vlog, but I live in Narcissismville, so it's going to be about narcissism. That's what this channel is. You know, mainly about narcissism. So all I have to do is show my daily life and give a daily vlog, you know, two birds kind of thing. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. If you want to subscribe to this channel, click the circle. If you're watching another video on this channel, click on the rectangles. Like, subscribe, comment, and share if you would. And I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.